In the past 30 years, China has been changing its appearance rapidly. High-rise buildings of all kinds are springing up in cities, not only in metropolitan areas, but also in small cities that are in the third or fourth tier. In addition to buildings, various large bridges and sea bridges have been built throughout the country. High-speed railways and highways are connecting cities, but with the passage of time, under these shiny appearances, more and more problems began to appear. So the Chinese term tofu-dreg construction was born. This is a flyover under construction that connects to the highway. It collapsed before its completion. The number of casualties is unknown. The Chinese media have admitted that overloaded trucks have collapsed overpasses in some parts of the country. Overloaded trucks haven't burst their tires but can collapse the bridges. By this standard, the pedestrian bridge we see here doesn't need to be ashamed of its lack of sturdiness. This happened in a second-tier city where the pedestrian bridge crumbled when it was hit by a flatbed truck hauling a construction vehicle that exceeded the height limit. On October 24th, in an ancient town in Gansu province, a suspension bridge tilted when people were still walking on it. Every October, China has a 7-day holiday during which the majority of people choose to travel. Attractions that are well known online will be swarmed with people. The advice given to tourists by the tofu-dreg constructions is that they had better learn to swim before they travel. This is a suspension bridge in a scenic spot that's popular online. One side of the safety rail and rope suddenly broke. Developing tourism is virtually the goal of every jurisdiction in China. If there are no local attractions, they will create one. For example, this city had planned to construct the tallest Ferris wheel to revitalize the local tourism and resort industry. The Ferris wheel was designed to be no less than 120 meters in height. On April 19, 2021, workers started to install it. Unfortunately, something went wrong, and the Ferris wheel collapsed on the afternoon of October 18th, failing to fulfill the dream of local officials. The Chinese word hole can be used as both a noun and a verb. When it's used as a verb, it means to dig a hole for others and make them suffer a loss. The tofu-dreg constructions found on Chinese roads do a good job illustrating the word hole both as a noun and a verb. Let's take a look at some of the holes. Here are more holes. More scary holes lie under the roads in China. When drivers drive by them, they may not realize what kind of danger they have just put themselves through. China's tofu-dreg construction has nothing to do with the project's cost. High cost doesn't guarantee the project's quality. Chinese media has reported that the main cause of tofu-dreg works in construction is cutting corners, accounting for 58%. Construction companies believe in the principle of hard labor brings no profit. Profits can be made without hard labor, and labor and materials are inversely proportional to profits. They hurry up when they can and cut corners when they can, regardless of whether it's a good idea or not. Secondly, 18% of the tofu-dreg projects are due to unreasonable design and poor construction technology. This is the highway around the island of Hainan province in southern China. The government declared that it was damaged by the typhoon and might be sinking. To ensure traffic safety, the local traffic police carried out double traffic control measures on the road. Yet online Chinese don't believe typhoons could cause this kind of damage. Communist China has a strategic plan to build a transportation powerhouse. In addition to highways and bridges, the scale of tunnel construction is getting bigger as well. New tunnel records are constantly being broken. The Chinese media proudly reported, as of April 2021, China has 17 super-long highway tunnels over 10 kilometers that are under construction. In terms of railways, as the scale of railway construction in the western region increases year by year, there are also more and more super-length railroad tunnels at high altitudes, in high-intensity seismic zones, and with large burial depths. In recent years, our country's tunnel engineering has shown a blowout development. After more than 30 years of development, road tunnels can now construct ultra-long road tunnels with a depth of 2,000 meters and a length of 20 kilometers. When it comes to tofu-dreg construction in Communist China, what the Chinese are most familiar with and hate the most is real estate. In this neighborhood, the exterior wall of a high-rise residential building with more than 30 floors has a black crack from the ground floor to its top. Online Chinese have judged the crack to be more than 50 meters long and as wide as a finger based on the height of the building. There are two types of new homes in Communist China: a rough home and a finely decorated home. Of course, a finely decorated home is selling at a higher price. This new development sells finely finished homes at a high price.
我们要把前的业主看一看，这个门都切开了全部是纸垛的你看一下，全部是橡皮纸，全部是纸垛的，看一下我们。
This isn't showing the steel of the developers, it's showing the conscience they have lost. Let's take a look at the building materials. There's no cement. Where did the cement go?
In the residential sector, many Chinese people have subdivided tofu-dreg projects, and one category is dubbed tofu-skin projects. When the wind blows in the fall, some of the insulation walls of the brand new high-rise homes have been torn off by the wind. Communist China's tofu-dreg construction has permeated almost all areas of engineering and building works in China. When people are working, walking, or driving, a catastrophe can fall out of nowhere. No matter how careful one is, it's hard to prevent it.
大连北站大连北站吧 北站，这是高架桥啊！高架桥看见没？高架桥下来，看看这高架桥，是桥墩子，怎么了这是？豆腐渣工程啊！看，哗啦，哗啦哗啦掉啊！这里也没有水泥啊！桥墩子多危险呢！
看喽，塔吊倒了，塔吊倒了呀！木板砸烂完，楼层都砸垮呀！这给了多大个事故啊！天哪！看喽，这打烂完了呀！幸到我来的跑得快哦，嘿。
One person was reported to be dead and 2 were injured when the crane collapsed. We don't know where this old lady in a wheelchair was heading, but the sudden fall of the power line pole stopped her from getting home. In a city in Jiangsu province, a high-pressure rotary spray pole at a construction site suddenly fell and hit a moving vehicle squarely, sending the driver to the hospital to be rescued. Beijing, as the capital of China, is known as the foot of the Son of Heaven, which is where the emperor takes direct care of. However, the tofu-dreg construction isn't going to spare it.
现在这条路整个都封了，说前面那个地铁里边有塌方，整个这个右安门外这条路都给封了。
On November 3rd, shocking news broke out that the Beijing subway, Line 19, had collapsed with unknown casualties. The surrounding area has been sealed off and no official coverage is yet available. The collapse of Metro Line 19 before its completion has drawn a lot of public attention. It coincides with the 6th plenary session of the Chinese Communist Party held in Beijing from November 8th to the 11th. Some online Chinese believe this is an ominous sign. The first phase of Beijing Metro Line 19 is expected to start trial operation at the end of 2021. The whole line is designed to run at a maximum speed of 120 kilometers per hour. It's the first new line to run at high speed in Beijing on a trial basis. With this accident, the public may develop doubts about the quality and safety of the subway. Is it because China is incapable of building a high-quality subway? Of course not. North Korea's splendid Pyongyang subway was built in the 1960s entirely by Chinese. The Pyongyang subway is known as the deepest subway system in the world, with the deepest point reaching 150 meters underground and the average depth of 90 meters. In 1966, when Kim Il-sung visited China, he was given a tour of the Beijing subway, which was under secret construction at the time. He then asked for assistance in building a subway in North Korea. With the approval of Mao Zedong, the construction of the Beijing subway project was stopped, and priority was given to the construction of the Pyongyang subway for free. From 1968 to 1973, 2 divisions of Chinese railway troops deployed to North Korea to work on the project. Each division had up to 50,000 people. To demonstrate the superiority of the socialist system of North Korea over South Korea, the Pyongyang subway was requested to be opened to traffic before the opening of the Seoul subway. The Chinese Railway Corps, amid the already tight construction schedule, stepped up its game and opened the first subway line on September 6, 1973, 1 month ahead of the Seoul subway in South Korea. It's probably fair to say that it would be hard to find another country in the world that is so generous. During the 70 years of the Chinese Communist Party's rule, it has destroyed the faith and moral base that ancient Chinese civilization had brought to the Chinese people. When hearts and minds have been corrupted and degraded into tofu dregs, they will also begin to devour the red Beijing.